All right, y'all, let's do this shit. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. How much like a kind of weirdo Unabomber do I look here? What's up? Hello, everybody. Thank you for, man, I look so weird. Hold on. Let me get rid of this little strand here. It's in my face. So what's up? Thank you for being so patient, and sorry this day has been so crazy. I tried to do this thing on the bus, and the acoustics were just too bad. So tell me, Vanessa or anyone else who wants to, tell me what is my audio like. I did some things to try to make it better and fix it. I actually got it fixed on the bus, but then the bus got there, and so it was like, well, I'll just go ahead and wait till I get out. But how does it sound? It doesn't need to sound amazing, but if you turn me up, at least, can you hear me okay? What is up? Audio's good. Yay, yay, yay. So, thank you to my 34, so far there's 34 of you, 34 committed followers who have, or subscribers, whatever, who first of all had to deal with a delay from my normal time. Because I thought there was this meeting, I thought it was going to end, or scheduled to end a lot earlier. I'll tell you about it later. It's nothing very interesting, but something that was scheduled to end earlier, and then I found out it wasn't. Then the acoustics on the bus were bad, so I did try to do, if you were around, an hour and a half ago or something, I did try to do a live stream from the bus. And it would have been cool if I had the acoustics figured out. But I did figure out what the problem was. So here's the thing, on StreamYard, and this is just another reason why I need to switch from StreamYard. But on StreamYard, for some reason, if you're on the phone and you go horizontal instead of vertical, like I don't like this any more than you do, the visuals here, right? I hate the vertical style. But what was happening on the bus is that for some reason when I went horizontal, then it like cut out the microphone or something. It did something weird to the sound and like drowned out my voice. So I don't know what was going on there. There's probably some way to fix it, but that's fine. I'm just gonna do this. So if you're wondering why is she doing the ridiculous vertical look aesthetic, that is why. Because for some reason StreamYard was punishing me acoustically and was doing something weird to the sound when I turned the camera into portrait mode, right? So anyway, let me know though, if it's I'm speaking too loud or if it's too staticky. This is a cheap microphone that I just take, like it's something that I'm okay with losing or it getting damaged, you know, so it's like $100 microphone. So the acoustics are not great with it, I understand, but it is what it is. Okay, so do let me know, y'all. It was fun on the bus. What's up, Neil? Neil, I'm curious if... All right, what do y'all think? All right, get situated. It's warm here, so so I'm like sweating now from walking. It is warm in Texas right now. So this is the Hilton. I just told them that I'm gonna be sitting here for a little while and talking, so there shouldn't be any issue. You might hear the TV in the background, but let me know. So let me know the acoustics. I'm going to jump in now to talking about some things. How many of you were aware? And yeah, sorry, it's going to be shaky cam. I don't think that I did bring the steady cam, but we'll just talk for a little while and then I can get it set up. I'll try to be steady here. How many of you were aware of the fact that Candace Owens, with whom you know I have like kind of these fraught feelings about, because on the one hand, like I really dubious about the Macron thing, and I think that it was actually kind of an immoral thing to put the president of France's now elderly wife through, because I don't think that she is a man. And so I've been critical at times of Candace's coverage of that, although I have to say, and I have been saying, that she certainly has the right to ask these questions. She seems to believe it. I really think that Candace believes what she has put out there about, she and Xavier Poussard have put out there about this. So, et cetera, et cetera. On the other hand, y'all, I have been at times recently very impressed by her guts in getting to the root of some of these Me Too cases, specifically Baldoni. Yes, I know that a lot of her work has been built upon like the work of smaller content creators, and not me. Like I don't think she's ever taken anything from me, right? But I know I was a little critical at one point about some of that or whatever. But she has provided, Candace Owens has provided top cover to a lot of us to ask our own questions, to make our own comments, to also put edgy content out there that could make us targets. And you've got Candace out there just basically taking all these different theories about Baldoni-Lively and launching them and being very direct and blunt in her assessment of these people and the situation of what Blake and Ryan have been up to. Like, that's really significant and it is important. And I don't know, honestly, I haven't really paid attention to Candace Owens for a long, long time until she started covering the Macron thing and the Justin Baldoni thing, because I was interested in the Macron story, right? And I'll give her credit for picking a story that is really captivating, and I watched every one of those episodes, right? And also because I was wanting to give it a fair shot. But anyway, my point is that I do think that she has, for better or worse at times, right? But I think that she has tremendous guts. And as someone who I think of myself as having some degree of courage with the things that I cover and with all of the times that I do follow my own conscience or instinct against the warnings of other people, like I have a lot of respect for that. And so anyway, she announced yesterday, Candace Owens, she had teased the fact that she was going to start a new, very, very controversial series. And so she teased it a bit, and so she announced it yesterday, apparently. I'm trying to find a place to rest my arm. Sorry, so it's a little less shaky. If you don't know, if you're just now coming on the stream, I went to the Dallas-Fort Worth area on a bus and went to work on a project that I'm working on with somebody, then came back and the bus was late, and then it's actually hot here in Texas, and so I walked around trying to find a good place, a quiet place to sit down, because my place is a ways from here. And so anyway, all of that culminating in me sitting in the lobby here at this Hilton doing this. And you never know, they might tell me. I did talk to the lady at the front. Anyways, so Candace Owens has announced that she is going to, first of all, that she has been communicating with, I assume speaking with on the phone from jail, Harvey Weinstein. And that she says, despite the fact that she thinks that he was it's a lot of liquor bottles. Despite the fact that she thinks that he was a deeply immoral man, and that he was basically, she said, running his studio like a brothel, so to speak, and intimidating people, et cetera, et cetera. And it sounds like, she's conceding that there was harassment at times going on. But despite these things, Candace floats the idea that Harvey Weinstein might have been framed for what put him in prison, and also to some degree framed or scapegoated by elements in Hollywood and the mainstream media. So best as I can tell, someone says, telling people where you live. But it was already out there. It's already out there, and we're moving. So anyways, it's already out there. So but now you've thrown me off, which is not helpful. Sometimes people mean well, but anyways, okay. I do appreciate your concern. I got a message from someone saying, basically, tell them where you live. That's silly. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I'm walking around a place here where if people want to, they can easily figure out exactly where it is. And so I guess I could not stream from a location that would give it away. So I don't know. These things, they just come up. I don't think about them much. But anyways, we do have licensed, the guy I cohabitate with, well, we'll leave it at that. Anyways, so her basic premise is that not that Weinstein was a Baldoni, or that he was someone else who I think is a very, very innocent, Marilyn Manson, despite what people may think about the stereotype, very, very innocent. Johnny Depp or whatever. She's not saying that. She's saying, though, that she thinks that there was almost a kind of a conspiracy of sorts in the loose sense between people like Ronan Farrow and then also that you had perhaps a number of women who were exaggerating things that happened to them or were shrugging off their own complicity in this. And this is what I'm saying, for instance, and this is just one example, because look, y'all, I have not, no, I, I was halfway joking, AJ, no worries. No, you're right, I probably shouldn't be. Advertising to people. So, anyways, I'll give you one example. So there was an article, y'all, by a friend of mine. Her name's Jamie Marshall. She was on here the other day. If you want to look it up, she did a live stream with me and we talked about Baldoni. And she had written an article a while back saying, yes, something to the extent of, yes, Weinstein was a creep. Yes, there was probably some degree of predation here, but that despite what people may think, there's much more of a huge gray area with Weinstein, and also there's a lot of counter evidence that discounts, or I should say that disproves to a degree the veracity of some of the women who accused him in court. And I'll give you just one example that Jamie cites in the article. And again, I haven't looked into this. This is my first time looking into this. You would think because it was the pivotal Me Too case that started everything that I would have, but this is one where I felt like maybe sometimes there was something a little bit wrong with some of the stories and stuff, but I knew this guy's reputation, and I felt like he was guilty of some assaults at some point, and anyway, and extremely predatory behavior, right? And I think a lot of you feel the same. And by the way, I haven't changed my mind on that. This is not where this is going necessarily. But what Candace is looking at, and what my friend Jamie was looking at, is the fact that you have, for instance, one of Harvey Weinstein's main accusers who accused him of assaults in court, and for whom he got a long sentence. It turns out she had been also emailing him regularly and saying, I love you, and that a number of these women had multiple, what looks to be consensual sexual relationships with him, even after supposed sexual assaults occurred. And I'm not saying that it's not possible for people to be really mixed up, women to be really mixed up when something like that happens and confused. And I'm not saying that makes it okay if he didn't assault them, right? It's what I think is that he probably is where he belongs, and that is rotting in prison. But I am willing to listen to Candace's counter argument if that's what she's presenting. And she says that, here's the thing, she says too that Weinstein knows where a lot of the bodies are buried, so to speak, when it comes to Hollywood sleaze and even political sleaze. The guy threw around a lot of money. Weinstein, he had a lot of fundraisers and so forth. You've seen the pictures of him with various politicians and so forth, and actors, gushing over him at awards ceremonies and everything, and so I think that I think what's going to happen here is that basically you're going to get a series of interviews with Harvey Weinstein, and maybe even like him sitting down talking to her, or maybe just through the phone, or I don't know exactly how that works, but a series of interviews. And I think that he's going to try to disprove a number of the allegations against him, particularly pertaining to the worst stuff, the criminal stuff, and say that they were lying, or that their behavior was contradictory, and et cetera, opportunistic. He's going to focus on probably the fact that most of the allegations against him are things that are basically kind of a quid pro quo. Do this and then you'll get a promotion, or you'll get this role, or at worst sexual harassment, which I do think he was a sexual harasser in terms of stuff you could be sued for in the workplace and everything. But again, we're talking about what Candace is looking into are we talking about criminal behavior, and was the truth told in court? And also, I think most importantly, why was Harvey Weinstein not scapegoated in the sense that he was innocent, but why is it that so many people in Hollywood who certainly were guilty of similar behaviors and in politics and so forth, they all point their fingers at him, and he's sent away in silence, so to speak. And then at the same time, you have all of these other grimy people in these industries who are going unnoticed, right? And so I think that's something that people with Candace's coverage are going to be really getting into as well, is the fact that it's not just about taking another look at this pivotal Me Too case. I mean, the Me Too case that conceived it all, so to speak, or started it all. It's not just about taking a second look at that and hearing for the first time really from Harvey Weinstein, but it's also about looking at all of the other grime potentially in Hollywood and in politics associated with kind of where are the Epstein files? Why is it? I mean, I am so with House and Habit, Jessica, on. Oh, I went away for a little while. Uh-oh. Are you getting bad coverage? Have I been talking to myself the whole time? Oh, shoot. Just a second. Just a second. Can you all hear me okay? Can we do a sound check again? Let me know if you can hear me, because it went out for a minute there. Yep. Let me know. This is definitely going to, like, one of my worst lives, but this is kind of the thing, is when I made the commitment, attempted a commitment to myself and you all that I would do a regular stream. I was just like, I know it's not going to be good every time. Anyway, y'all, where are the Epstein files? It's kind of like, it reminds me of Weinstein in the sense that you had, I was talking about Jessica Krause and House and Habit, because she's provided over the years a lot of, you could say, semi-favorable coverage of Ghislaine Maxwell. And of course, that a lot of people that has rubbed the wrong way, I think, who don't really look at this coverage and understand what she's getting at. But she never is saying that this woman did not do immoral things or hurt people. What she's saying is, it seems very convenient that you had everything, all of this slime, these terrible behaviors, just basically dumped on two people. It was Epstein and it was Ghislaine Maxwell, and nobody else. Nobody else is going to prison, right? No. What about all of these people that they were servicing, that they were hooking up, so to speak, right? And so I think that it's a similar thing that you can, thinking about in terms of Weinstein, is this thing of like, okay, you had this one predatory, harassing asshole of a guy, and he went down, and then how is it that he went down and nobody seemed to have known him? Oh, I didn't know him. We weren't friends. We didn't hang out. Or like Matt Damon, who's like, I never heard anything. It's like, I don't know. Anyway, so I think that certainly there are ways in which Candace's series can become ridiculous or go wrong, so to speak, or what have you. But I also think that it sounds interesting, and I appreciate the guts that it takes to even bring this up or ask these questions or give a contrarian take, because she's going to get a lot of shit from people the same way that I get shit from people whenever I look into a case or I express a contrarian opinion, and they'll say, oh, you think everybody's innocent. You just defend all men, misogynist, blah, 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 and it's so not true. As I said before, I just choose the cases that I think there are issues, right, that need to be explored, or in certain cases where I do see a hoax, right? And I'm not saying anything like that with Weinstein, but I am saying that I do see the reasons for a second look to be taken, and I think it's great that Candace is doing that. So I'm not covering this topic per se, and I'm going to stay away from it in the sense that I don't want to bring some kind of condemnation on myself when I'm trying to cover other cases as well and turn people off. And that's just pragmatism. But I am going to at times cover Candace's coverage of it, because I think that that's less direct, but also could be interesting, and respond to it and how I feel about it one way or the other, because it is interesting what she's doing. And Candace has said that not only is she going to continue talking about Baldoni versus Lively, until that thing is done, she's going to be right there in it with all of us. But also, she said that she's going to, it sounds like to some degree, cover the Marilyn Manson Me Too hoax, a case where, unlike Weinstein, it's very, very clear cut when you look into it, much like the Johnny Depp case or the Baldoni case, honestly, that he's innocent, something's very wrong, right? So she said the other day, she responded to my super chat, thank you, Candace, and said that. So I'm going to be covering that too as well. So we'll see what happens. Candace is definitely a media phenomenon, even if there are stories and occasions when I'm just like shaking my head, right? Okay. What else? There really wasn't any new information that came out today about Baldoni versus Lively. I saw some people like Zach were talking about the letter that they sent, that Team Lively Reynolds sent to the judge, making reference to, quote, Baldoni's 5 mistresses and 5 psychiatrists. And it was some kind of a legal hypothetical rationale they were presenting, or claiming they got the idea from the other side, or I don't know, whatever. I get so like bored with games like this, but the point is they wanted to get this 5 mistresses and 5 psychiatrists in, which is complete bullshit. It's just complete. If Justin Baldoni, after everything that I have read about him and learned about him, if Justin Baldoni at any time had 5 mistresses, I'm just going to drop dead in shock. So unlikely, much less 5 psychiatrists. Although I did say on Twitter that made a little more sense, because I think it would probably take 5 psychiatrists to be able to deal with Blake Lively while he made that film. Anyway, but yeah, there's nothing really coming out. Let me look at your comments, and then I think I am gonna get out of here. And I have a video to put out very, very soon. It is completely done, completely. I'm just doing a thumbnail, and it's going to be part 2 of my interview with Vanessa. So you do have something, the PR lady, something to look at. Okay, let me see. Let me go away just for 30 seconds. Dude, I clicked off my mic and camera, and then I just couldn't even remember what I was going to get. What I was going to get. It's one of those days. It must not have been that essential or whatever, though. But anyway, I did want to address, though, there was one thing that came to me. I did want to address one thing quickly, which is I have been surprised, not hurt or bothered or anything like that, but I have been surprised by how many people, still a minority and whatever, but how many people were like upset about some of the things that were said or ideas that were floated in the Vanessa PR lady conversation about Blake Lively. Sorry, they're running the vacuum cleaner over here. One second. Let me put this one. I'm actually going to wrap this up in a minute, but I'm going to go right over here to this bench by the door and just finish my thought here. Thank you so much for your patience today. Yeah, so I think some people get, I noticed this with the Amber Heard thing too. Some people get offended when you offer advice to them, or in the case of what we were doing there, we were doing like hypothetical PR advice or off-ramp scenarios for her. And I just find these to be interesting thought exercises, usually from the position of, man, these people are in some deep shit. It's kind of like fun and funny to sort of wallow in that predicament, so to speak, by talking about how much deep shit they're in and like how would they even get out of this, right? But I do want to say also, though, I really do believe that, I don't know, and I haven't talked to him or anything, but I really do believe that Justin Baldoni probably, if given the choice between taking this thing to the very end, say, in a year or a year and a half, or if it gets, usually things get extended, but taking this to the very end with just constant barrages against Blake and really making her suffer, even justifiably suffer to the max, a choice between that or between Blake taking one of those off-ramps that Vanessa and I discussed in that video the other day. I think as long as, again, he was, it was explicitly said that he had not done anything wrong, and also that a significant monetary payout was provided and all of that, like he would be totally cleared, totally vindicated. And all that we were suggesting the other day, and what I have been suggesting for Blake Lively, are just ways perhaps to make this confession and this capitulation, this white flag, a little more palatable by offering some kind of explanation or set of explanations to the public. And people said, oh, well, you're telling her a lie or whatever. Well, I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of Blake Lively's psyche or thing. I mean, maybe her dad dying and postpartum stuff or whatever, I know, could have contributed to some of it. But yeah, I agree, she's a bad person. But ultimately, I think that what's practically best for Justin and everybody involved is that this thing come to a resolution sooner rather than later. And so that's where I was coming from. So people can be upset or what have you, and I guess just keep making those comments. But I'd like for you to think about that perspective maybe a little more, instead of just, I don't know, thinking that we're actually like wanting to help Blake Lively because we identify with her or something, or we don't think that she's totally awful. Like, she's awful. I agree. All right, I gotta go. I really appreciate my mods as always. So thank you to AJ and Vanessa. I see you here. Laura B, I think was here. Yeah. And then Rebel Bird earlier. I don't see here, but earlier. Anyway, thank you all so much. And I probably will end up cutting this interview, but it's no. Or this stream, but it's no mystery why. It's just not one of my best. But I did want to give you all, my dedicated, subscribers and followers, give you something, because I don't like canceling on you. And I'm going to try to, stick to this more or less when I can. Okay, thank you all so much, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.